Some people seem to attract luck like a magnet. They walk into a room and opportunities appear. They take one risk and it pays off. Meanwhile, others grind endlessly and get nothing but resistance. The difference isn't fate, it's neural wiring. What you call luck is actually the ability of your brain to detect and act on hidden signals of opportunity that everyone else misses. You don't need superstition. You need an upgrade to your brain's pattern recognition system. And that's exactly what we're going to install today, the brain circuit code. This is the system that top performers unconsciously run when they keep landing in the right place at the right time with the right people. They've trained their neural circuits to tag chance events as potential openings instead of background noise. You're about to learn how to do the same. So let's begin by exposing the real reason luck feels random. Your brain receives about 11 million bits of sensory information every second, but it can consciously process only about 40 of them. That means your entire reality, your opportunities, your potential, your luck, depends on what your attention filters choose to let through. Neuroscientists call this the reticular activating system. It's the network in your brainstem that decides what information deserves focus. When your RAS is trained on scarcity, it highlights threats, problems, and failures. When it's trained on possibility, it highlights openings, patterns, and coincidences that you can convert into advantage. The people who look lucky are not receiving more chances. They're seeing what others ignore. So here's your first code. Recalibrate your reticular filter. Every morning before you open your phone, ask one question out loud. What is already working in my favor that I haven't noticed yet? This primes your RAS to search for positive anomalies. Throughout the day, your brain will start tagging small alignments, a timing coincidence, an overheard conversation, a sudden idea, as potential leverage instead of irrelevant noise. The science behind it is simple. The neural circuits that fire together wire together. When you repeatedly focus on wins, your attention network starts predicting more of them. Your perception literally bends to your expectation. Now, once your filter is calibrated, we move to the second layer of the brain circuit code, probabilistic framing. Most people treat outcomes as binary, success or failure, win or lose. But your brain isn't built for that. It's a probability engine. When it sees uncertainty, it tries to predict which pattern is most likely to repeat. The problem is, for most people, those predictions are biased by fear. Your brain overestimates losses because the amygdala, your threat detector, reacts 5 times stronger to potential pain than to potential gain. That means even when opportunity is 50-50, your mind will register it as too risky. Lucky people override that distortion. They teach their brain to assign value instead of danger. Here's how to do it. Every time you catch yourself thinking, "What if this goes wrong?" immediately follow with, "And what if this opens a door I can't see yet?" That single counter question shifts neural activity from the amygdala to the prefrontal cortex, the logic center responsible for evaluation and planning. It doesn't erase risk, it just stops fear from hijacking perception. Think of it like debugging software. You're not deleting caution, you're removing the emotional overreaction that prevents accurate probability mapping. Over time, your brain learns that uncertainty equals potential gain, not guaranteed loss. That's the exact mindset elite performers use when they seem to get lucky by taking bold, well-timed moves. They've trained the probability engine to look for asymmetric upside. Let's go deeper. The third component of the brain circuit code is associative expansion. This is where your brain links unrelated data into new possibilities. In neuroscience, it's called the default mode network, the system that activates during daydreaming and creative insight. Most people shut this network down with constant input, notifications, noise, scrolling. As a result, their associative range collapses, and they can't see hidden connections that create breakthroughs. To train associative expansion, you need to deliberately trigger idle thinking states. Here's the protocol. Once per day, step away from all stimulation. No music, no screens, no conversations, for 7 minutes. Pick a simple sensory anchor like walking, breathing, or observing light. The goal isn't meditation, it's cognitive drift. Let your mind wander freely while staying slightly aware. During this period, the default mode network activates and starts linking distant memories, half-formed ideas, and unprocessed experiences. What happens next is what most people call intuition. It's not magic. It's your brain connecting dots faster than you can articulate. Lucky breaks often emerge right after these idle phases. A conversation suddenly connects to a past skill. A coincidence aligns with an idea. Your mind starts surfacing connections that others miss because you've allowed it to run background synthesis. But this only works if you complete the fourth step, action tagging. Here's the hard truth. Opportunities don't look like opportunities. They look like small, inconvenient invitations. The lucky ones act before clarity arrives. They tag microsignals as actionable experiments instead of waiting for certainty. Neuroscience explains why this works. When you act quickly on a novel cue, you activate the brain's dopaminergic seeking system. Dopamine isn't about reward, it's about pursuit. It fuels motivation to explore. Acting fast reinforces that exploration loop, teaching your brain to treat uncertainty as curiosity instead of threat. So your next code is this. Whenever something unusual catches your attention, a person, an idea, a chance event, give yourself a 5-minute window to take one micro-action related to it. That could be sending a message, doing a quick search, or writing a note. You're not committing to the outcome. You're training your brain to anchor opportunity recognition to immediate movement. The faster the link between notice and act, the more your neural pattern of luck strengthens. Over time, your brain learns to expect reward after curiosity, not fear. That's what rewires the entire circuit. Let's pause and reframe what you've installed so far. Step 1. Recalibrate your reticular filter to see alignment instead of randomness. Step 2. Reprogram your probability engine to assign value to uncertainty instead of danger. Step 3. Reactivate your associative expansion to spot unseen connections. Step 4. Hardwire action tagging so the signal becomes movement before self-doubt interferes. Together, these 4 codes form the neural basis of luck. But there's one final layer that amplifies all of them: social resonance. Luck multiplies in networks. The human brain evolved to detect emotional signals from others faster than rational cues. This is called limbic resonance. It's how moods spread through a group before anyone speaks. When your energy communicates confidence, curiosity, and openness, you subconsciously invite collaboration and access to new information streams. People literally feel safer and more aligned around you. The easiest way to install social resonance is through what I call the 1-degree shift. Every time you enter a conversation, consciously adjust your internal tone 1 degree toward curiosity. Not agreement, not performance. Curiosity. Ask one authentic question that signals you are engaged in understanding, not in waiting to talk. This triggers a mirror response in the other person's insula and ventromedial prefrontal cortex, the areas responsible for empathy and social evaluation. Their brain begins to tag you as trustworthy, intelligent, and connected. That's the invisible gateway to opportunities that never appear in public. Most partnerships, collaborations, and invitations begin as micro-moments of resonance that spread trust at the neural level. When you consistently project this 1-degree shift, you become what high performers call a signal amplifier. Information and openings start flowing toward you because your network's brains now perceive you as the node that converts ideas into results. That's when luck accelerates geometrically. Now let's bring this together into a single executable system, the full brain circuit code. Think of it like upgrading your brain's operating system for recognizing and exploiting chance. The process happens in 3 loops: awareness, association, and activation. Awareness is the foundation. This is where you train your reticular activating system to recognize the right data points. Most people live inside cognitive blindness. Their attention is hijacked by noise. Your task is to switch from default filtering to intentional scanning. The simplest way is to run daily pattern calibration. Once per morning and once before sleep, replay your previous 12 hours and identify 3 moments that could have turned into opportunities if you had acted faster or paid closer attention. Don't judge yourself, just tag them mentally. This retrospective tagging teaches your attention system to highlight similar cues in real time. Within 10 days, you'll start catching micro-synchronicities as they happen. The email you almost ignored, the conversation you nearly skipped, the idea that pops up when you're tired. That's the first stage of neural reprogramming. Association is the second loop. Here, you expand the number of links your brain can form between unrelated inputs. Studies from Stanford's Neuroscience Institute show that creative insight isn't about intelligence. It's about cross-domain connectivity. The more your neurons fire together across different regions, the more likely you are to see patterns others overlook. To train this, you use a technique called forced mismatch. Once a day, take one concept from your field and deliberately pair it with something from a completely different area. Ask, how would a musician solve this problem? Or, how would a pilot approach this project? This disrupts the usual neural pathways and forces the creation of new associative bridges. Over time, your brain becomes a cross-domain synthesizer. That's the foundation of innovation, but also of what people perceive as luck, the ability to connect unrelated elements into a single leveraged outcome. Activation is the final loop. This is where pattern recognition turns into execution. Remember, your brain rewards motion with dopamine, but it punishes hesitation with cortisol. The longer you analyze, the weaker the opportunity circuit becomes. So you must build the reflex of immediate microaction. Every time you feel a spark of curiosity or recognition, take one step, even the smallest one, within 5 minutes. It can be writing a note, sending a message, or doing a 30-second search. The timing matters more than the scale. You are teaching your nervous system that recognition equals movement. That's how the lucky reflex is built. What used to be hesitation becomes automatic pursuit. Once the neural pathway between recognition and action strengthens, it runs subconsciously. That's why some people seem to always move first. Their brain literally doesn't allow delay. Now, let's talk about feedback loops. Every neural system requires reinforcement to stabilize. To lock in the brain circuit code, you need both internal and external feedback. Internal feedback is reflection, noticing small wins. When you take a small action that leads to an unexpected result, pause and register it. Say to yourself, that's the signal working. That verbal acknowledgement is not placebo. It releases acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter that marks a memory as important, reinforcing the neural pathway that created it. External feedback is environmental. You need to surround yourself with people and contexts that multiply opportunities instead of suppressing them. In practical terms, that means deliberately engaging with environments where novelty and unpredictability exist. Routines are efficient for output, but deadly for insight. Once a week, change your setting. New location, new conversation, new challenge. Each shift injects novelty-driven dopamine, which strengthens the brain's exploratory mode. You become a pattern hunter instead of a routine executor. Let's apply this in a scenario. Imagine you're stuck in career stagnation. Same work, same circle, no new chances. You run the brain circuit code for 7 days. First, you recalibrate your reticular filter every morning by asking, what is already working in my favor? That alone shifts attention from scarcity to abundance. Second, you perform the daily forced mismatch. You take a principle from a completely unrelated field, maybe architecture, and ask how structure and flow could redesign your workflow. That generates one unexpected idea that impresses your team. Third, you act on it immediately instead of waiting for permission. Fourth, you record the result as feedback and note how quickly it produced response. Within 1 week, you're already labeled as the person who brings fresh insight. What looks like luck to others is actually circuitry in motion. The same code applies to relationships, business, and timing. You don't wait for opportunity. You create the conditions for it to appear. The human brain is a predictive engine. It generates models of the world based on past input. When you run the same emotional and behavioral loops, your brain predicts more of the same. But when you feed it novelty, association, and fast action, you expand the predictive model. The probability of lucky coincidences increases because your attention system is tuned to detect them. You are not bending reality. You are simply decoding it at higher resolution. There's another layer most people ignore: state management. Your ability to recognize opportunity depends on the neurochemical balance between dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. When you are chronically stressed, your brain prioritizes survival and shuts down pattern detection. The world literally narrows. To counter that, you must use physiological resets that return your body to readiness. One of the fastest is the exhale extended breath. 3 rounds of breathing in for 4 seconds and exhaling for 8 resets your autonomic balance. This switches your system from defensive mode to exploratory mode. Perform it before high-stakes decisions or social events. It clears the noise and reactivates the part of the brain responsible for pattern recognition. You'll notice details and cues you would have otherwise missed. Combine this physiological control with the 4 cognitive codes, and you become what neuroscientists call an open-loop optimizer. Someone whose nervous system treats the world as a stream of options instead of obstacles. Let's address the misconception that luck is linear. It's not a straight path. It's exponential. Once your circuits are trained, each opportunity creates new ones. The initial friction disappears. The brain loves efficiency, so it automates successful behaviors. You start noticing how small decisions cascade into major outcomes. That's why lucky people keep compounding results while others stay static. They are not smarter. They've just automated the recognition loop. Here's how to maintain it long-term. Once a month, perform what I call circuit auditing. Take 30 minutes and list your last 5 major wins or coincidences. For each, identify the micro-decision that triggered it. You'll notice patterns. Maybe it was a conversation, a location, or a timing factor. Those are your personal opportunity cues. Once you know them, you can deliberately recreate similar conditions. You're not chasing luck anymore. You're manufacturing it. The greatest advantage of this system is that it scales. As your awareness expands, your world responds. You start meeting people at the exact right time, catching trends early or pivoting before others see the shift. From the outside, it looks like instinct. From the inside, it's just trained neural architecture doing its job. The more you run the code, the more it self-reinforces. You become what cognitive scientists call an attractor state, a person around whom chance events cluster because you constantly act on them. That's the real secret behind lifelong momentum. So to summarize your install, recalibrate attention, reframe probability, expand associations, tag and act fast, manage state, and audit feedback. That's the brain circuit code, the operating system for engineered luck. Most people wait for permission from reality. You're not most people. You've just learned how to reprogram the mechanism that controls perception itself. The moment you start running this system, chance stops feeling random. It becomes directional. It bends toward your intention because your brain finally knows how to read the field. And that's the difference between living reactively and living strategically. Now, if you want to keep upgrading your internal software, from focus to discipline to influence, subscribe to Success Code. Each video installs a new mental protocol built on neuroscience and performance engineering, designed to give you measurable leverage in the real world. Because in this game, knowledge isn't power. Applied code is. Welcome to your new operating system for success.